Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar about LinkedIn ads for B2B tech marketeers. We can still see that people are logging in, so we take it a bit slow here in the beginning, just making sure everyone's connected to sound and can see us. So hopefully you can see us and hear us good. So very welcome to today's webinar about LinkedIn ads for B2B tech marketeers. My name is Cecilia Bylund and I'm CMO at Bright Vision. And before we start with today's speaker, the star of the show, I will just quickly present Bright Vision that stands behind this event. So, yes. So, Bright Vision, we are a result-driven marketing agency that helps IT and tech companies grow and succeed with sales and marketing. So we work with all B2B tech companies. The logos you see here are the ones everyone recognizes, but we also help small brands and startups. So all tech companies from startup to enterprise. So as you can tell, we have a small target group, B2B tech, but we have a broad range of services. So based on our client needs, we put together a team with relevant specialists. So on this slide, you can see some of the services that we provide. So everything from paid media to telemarketing to ABM to content marketing. And we've been operating since 1999, so we have more than 20 years in business. So that was a little bit about Bright Vision. And now I'm very happy to share our exclusive webinar offer that we have today. So the 10 first to reply to this offer, either you scan the QR code, you go to the landing page, you submit the form, or you send an email to emma.kotka@brightvision.com, gets a free paid channel workshop together with one of our paid experts. And this is worth 500 euros. So we have offers like this for most of our webinars and events, and we have gotten some great feedback on them. And many of the workshop attendees has actually turned into recurring clients. In this offer, one of our paid media strategists will do an analysis of your current advertising channels and identify areas where you can require some improvement. So you will get a workshop where you can ask questions and we provide a recommendation, and then you will also get a very specific document on things you can improve to reach ROI with your paid ads. So now I'm I'm done talking. So now finally we were gonna talk about today's webinar. So very welcome to the stage, Alexander Koplenko, paid media lead at Bright Vision. Welcome.
Thank you, Cecilia. Welcome, everyone. Very blessed to be here today with all of you. And today we will be talking about B2B advertising on LinkedIn. We'll take around 30 minutes for everything, and we'll have some time for a Q&A. We'll go through what pains us all doing B2B advertising today, why it costs so much, how we can avoid burning money, how we can get more results, and how we can correctly attribute them to our marketing efforts. All of us know that we're facing basically the same set of issues for the last 6 months. Everyone knows the recession is here, and to be precise, we sent out a survey asking, have you had any luck with LinkedIn? And only 15% of our respondents said that they had any positive ROI from doing LinkedIn ads, which is a very telling sign that our marketing is not perfect on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is not the easiest platform to do advertising on. So there's many blockers that we're facing for this. A lot of marketing budgets are getting cut. We're seeing that marketing departments across tech industry facing layoffs, reduced partner funding, just reduced budget overall. So you're still expected to do just as you did previously, if not more, but on a much, much more conservative budget. We're also seeing, and everyone is probably hearing all the time about generative AI, about automation, ChatGPT, and the volume and the velocity of producing content, producing ads, producing copy is increasing. Everything is speeding up. But at the same time, we're seeing that the levels of quality are dropping. The reliance on ChatGPT at this point is dangerous, yet the pressure on marketing departments to use it is all-time high right now. And at the same time, the platforms are not making our jobs any easier. Google Analytics right now are asking you to know what an SQL database is, how to use BigQuery, how to use API, how to use conversion tracking on server side, and not to mention even the privacy and all of the GDPR regulations we have to face and all of the data issues that come with this. And at the same time, on top of everything else, advertising is not getting cheaper. The volume of ads and the volume of advertising on LinkedIn is increasing each day. More and more people are running ads. More and more people are reaching for the same audiences, for the same niches and segments, driving the cost up. And LinkedIn has never been one of the cheaper options for advertising, and it's been only increasing ever since. So to summarize, we're under a lot of pressure to deliver. And most importantly, we need to bring business in. We need to generate revenue. And running a good campaign on LinkedIn has always been a staple of B2B marketing. We all know that from 60 to 80% of B2B marketers, especially in tech, are present and running advertising on LinkedIn, though only 2% of all of them are running exclusively on LinkedIn, usually citing the cost. And from our surveys that we sent out, we're seeing basically the same argument. LinkedIn is expensive. LinkedIn is complicated. LinkedIn is very demanding that you plan ahead. And even if you deliver a perfect campaign, your targeting has been on point, your assets have been beautiful, your copy very engaging, the issue quite often that we see is that you get results and then it's very hard to attribute them to your particular campaigns. Even the best campaigns will require a very complicated, very precise attribution. So without it, you would not be able to show any ROI. Without ROI, there will be more and more pressure both on your personal efforts and on marketing departments to deliver. So how do we avoid this? How do we get great results from the perfect platform for B2B advertising and yet not burn money on it and attribute the results to our actual efforts? So we see that LinkedIn is perfect for us. Sure. Everyone agrees on this. There have been multiple surveys for this, but it's expensive. From what we see with our clients for the last 2-3 years at least, this argument comes from audiences and from our clients who just go in for it. They just go for, we have the job titles, let's run ads to them, see what we get out of it. We just need leads. And this doesn't sound like a very thought through paid channel strategy. And that's our solution to getting ROI from LinkedIn. A good strategy guarantees that you get results and that the results that you get can be attributed to your efforts from the first click down to the sale and deal closing. So we start with developing channel strategy here. This means getting that revenue and getting that results and the expectations that you have should be the first question before deciding to run a campaign on LinkedIn, considering the costs especially. But this comes as a surprise to many teams and many internal in-house marketers. You start with the idea what the ad should achieve. What's the purpose of an ad? Why would you run it on LinkedIn? Does it fit in there? What's the purpose of it? And the fundamental misconceptions that we're seeing very often in our dialects is that people treat LinkedIn advertising as forceful content push. They treat it as more people will see our white paper, more people will see our logo, basically. And this is fundamentally wrong. An ad interrupts the experience. No one likes ads. No one likes to see them. No one would pay to see an ad specifically. An ad should interrupt the experience a person has on any platform, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on any of them. You're scrolling your feed, you're scrolling, looking at posts from your colleagues, from influencers that you see, and then you see an ad, and if it doesn't interrupt your experience, you haven't got their attention. You haven't struck the pain point, your message does not engage, your message does not interrupt. So the foundation of any advertising, any channel strategies that we work on is to make an ad that interrupts the experience the person has on the platform. And by interruption, I don't mean that you do something offensive, that you do something horribly ugly or controversial for the sake of being controversial. We'll expand on it after we answer these questions that will inform what kind of interruption we will be looking for. So the foundations of any channel strategy, especially paid channel strategy, would be asking, what are the business goals? Do you have a number for the revenues that you want to get out of this in 12 months, in 6 months? We'll have long and different sales cycles, so it will differ. But having this goal is one of the foundations. And then evaluating what would happen if you do not achieve this goal. Would it hurt the bottom line? Would it hurt the KPIs your team has? Would it hurt what you report to your superiors, to your partners? What's at stake if this doesn't work out? And then what informs the decision if this channel suits you, if LinkedIn is for you, what has been working for you so far? Have you done SEO and organic? Have you done email marketing only? Have you been present on Facebook? Have you been present on LinkedIn at all previously? This is the first stage of auditing what will work for you, because without answering quite simple questions like this, it's very hard to forecast any results. It's hard to come up with tactics how to achieve your goals. So those would be the foundations. And if you achieve the goals, if you achieve what you've planned and your sales are happy, your marketing department head is happy, all of the developers that you work with, all of the sales people you work with, everyone is happy, what value can be attributed back to this campaign and how happy all of those people became? Back again to attribution. But then again, we're seeing more complicated questions next. A lot of people and a lot of B2B marketers that we talk with think they have a very good marketing ecosystem. And when we dig deep in and start asking questions, we see that they've been reliant on running LinkedIn ads for a couple of years and are wondering why they stopped working for them after initial success, or if they ever worked for them. This is not a healthy marketing ecosystem. So start with asking questions again about this, because this is the tool set that you will be working with. This is the tool set that will be delivering the results. How diversified are channels? If you are reliant just on organic so far, is it necessary to expand to paid? If yes, why? If you've been relying exclusively on Facebook advertising, what was the reason to look at LinkedIn? Can you achieve the same goals? Should you see the same KPIs for different channels? Then if you decide that B2B advertising that you would be doing is perfect for LinkedIn, is this channel for you at all? Do you have presence there? Is your audience present on there? What's their behavioral patterns? What's their expectations? What kind of topics they discuss? Are they in the context? And can you find this context and deliver your message in it? If yes, is it right for you right now? Does the timing, does the cultural climate works for you to deliver the ads on this platform? There are a lot of topics, there are a lot of issues being discussed on LinkedIn every day in each industry, in each niche. And you need to be sure that you can fit in and disrupt what they're discussing to deliver your message, to answer what that you feel, that you know what they're caring about, and that you can solve the issue, that you understand the context and the content that you're trying to interrupt. And then again, we have a very overlooked part of the marketing ecosystem. Do you have a product and service market fit? And it's a bigger issue, but coming on LinkedIn and trying to get leads without a good product market fit is a recipe for disaster, or maybe not disaster, more for a lot of money spent not in the most wise way. This question answers majority of the issues you might be facing and the majority of the issues that could lead to lower or lack of ROI completely. And then if you have the product market fit and you decide that LinkedIn is for you and you think that it's perfect for this specific time, are your people on there? Do you know them, and how well do you know them? Can you segment them? Can you find the perfect way to communicate to each of those segments? Basically, what's your ideal customer profile? What are the personas? What's the segments within them that you can know how to interrupt their specific experience? Because we'll discuss it in a couple of minutes, but we see one of the most popular issues is just thinking that IT managers and marketing managers and sales managers in all kinds of companies, from a startup to a huge enterprise, are spending their time on LinkedIn the same, and they're looking at the same ads, and they're looking at the same pieces of content, following the same influencers, being members of the same groups. And it's simply not true. So knowing their behavior, knowing their behavioral patterns and expectations helps you and your brand to interrupt that experience, fit in, and communicate their needs. And then on the technical side, we have the most difficult and the most unpleasant questions that we usually have in our dialects is the tech side of everything. What's your marketing tech stack? What is the tool that you're using? Are you collecting data? How much data for how long? What's the quality of it? Can you use it? How you've been using it previously? If you have run ads before, what were the results? What were the issues that you faced? Because without it, without the data and being data-driven, it's guesswork. Even the most experienced marketing manager and experienced PPC specialist without data would be guessing. But if you have answers to all of these questions, if you have answered all of it, you're ready to develop a channel strategy for LinkedIn. And if you have the strategy in place, it's time to go down the trenches and start developing the tactics. And as I mentioned, a successful ad and any tactic to achieve this is based on 3 elements. It's a relevant message in relevant context, reaching the correct audience. It interrupts their experience, and if you interrupt their experience, you get their attention. If you get their attention, they're all yours. Educate them, convert them. And as you can see, it's very different from case to case, from client to client, from product to product. What would be a good ad? What would be a good creative? What would be a good copy that would interrupt their experience? So for people in looking in AI and trying to automate their processes, we strike into the pain point of lowering the risks of their AI investments. If people are looking to educate themselves on new retail tech, we show them what kind of content can educate them on it. If we are breaking through into a new category and we need people to be aware of it and just keep in their mind in 4 to 6 months when they will be looking to invest that this solution exists. We've interrupted their experience, we've informed them, we're ready for them to become a lead. And LinkedIn is perfect for this. And at the same time, they give you the worst possible tools to achieve those goals. So you can see the very specific language and phrasing and the styles that people communicate on the platform. It's different from Facebook, it's different from Twitter and any other platform. It's very corporate. At the same time, each industry and niche would have their separate styles, and you can research into them, and it can inform the style of your own communication to those audiences. And it's giving you all the tools to see the cultural and business context in each industry, in each specific company. Even you can see what's the zeitgeist right now is. And then when you're ready, you've got the data, you've got everything. LinkedIn gives you the most unintuitive and complicated tool set to reach those people. They give you the LinkedIn Campaign Manager. And it's a fantastic tool, but it's not user-friendly. And to specify what I meant by the content and context, into content and context, it's the place and time of your message, and the message itself and the offer suit the segments that you're targeting, which is the basics of marketing in any niche, in B2B, B2C, it's universal. But then the campaign manager with the difficulty of the setup, knowing which campaign goals and which creative formats work, if audience expansion tools work for you, if LinkedIn Audience Network works, if next delivery bidding is suitable to you. It's quite confusing and very counterintuitive into how they describe it and how it actually works. And then the biggest issue that we've seen everyone mentioning all the time is how unintuitive the targeting is, and that you have to layer a lot of targeting facets and a lot of segments to get any results out of a LinkedIn ad. And then even when you do all of that, tracking what actually converted, when and how, depending on the rest of your MarTech stack, is even a bigger issue for a lot of especially bigger brands. So in essence, once again, it's a perfect platform for B2B, and then you get the worst tools to use it. And I'd like to have a little exercise if everyone can see the slide. Basically, my question would be, can you see what's wrong with the setup? Which elements of it would be hurting the ROI of a campaign like this? Let's take 30 seconds and proceed.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit difficult to read, but hopefully you can see. Yeah, it looks like people are seeing Alexander, so that's good.
Good. Let me walk you through a bit.
Yeah.
Basically, we're running, let's say it's a lead gen campaign, and we've selected that the objective of it would be the engagements. We selected people who've been recently or permanently in Sweden. The language of their profile should be English. That we're using both LinkedIn and LinkedIn Audience Network, and we're targeting those specific titles, including marketing managers, sales managers, IT managers, CEOs, and CTOs. And we're allowing LinkedIn to expand on the existing audience using their algorithm. And I'm seeing that most of our audience are seeing the problems. So first of all, if this would be a lead gen campaign, selecting engagement would get you huge amount of clicks, and probably huge amount of clicks go into your company page. Will those people convert on a lead gen form or on your page? Highly unlikely. So it's already defeating the point of this setup. Then we have the location targeting people recently in Sweden or permanently. It's a dangerous choice to allow those who have been traveling through Sweden to be targeted if you know that you're targeting the Swedish market. Language, it's a bit more controversial. We see that usually it's safe to leave English on, as it will be targeting people who have English as a profile language and Swedish. But if you're running a localized campaign toward those people who speak Swedish, with Swedish ads, with Swedish copy, with copy on the LinkedIn or on the landing page, it's good to run it to people whose profiles are in Swedish. And then again, LinkedIn Audience Network and audience expansion. Hopefully none of LinkedIn reps are here to hate on us, but those are mostly useless tools. Audience Network gets you lots of clicks, but filtering out the bot traffic and guaranteeing the quality of the traffic you would be getting is borderline impossible. Audience expansion is basically letting LinkedIn do a lookalike audience however their algorithm seems fit for you in this campaign. You have no control. You have a lot of work later on to filter out what they have been trying to get you in here. And as for targeting, it's even more difficult. I already pointed out this issue that piling up everything in one place, having the marketing managers and CEOs and salespeople and IT people in one place, is just trying to burn money in a very, very fast way. So this campaign is just certified to be a failure like this. But how do we avoid this? What would a good campaign look like? And starting with data collection. So before you run your first campaign, but after you answered all of the business and foundational questions, you need to make sure that you're collecting the data, that you're getting the traffic that you're getting the conversions, how they happen, when, which campaigns they're attributed to. Only then you can be safe that whatever results you're seeing are the actual results and not duplicates, that you're not missing out on conversions, that you're not missing out on traffic, that you can segment it correctly. LinkedIn gives you some tools for this, but they rely a lot on custom setups and on event-based tracking. So this is a prerequisite before any campaigns that you would run. And then having the structure for the account, that you know the business goals and how they communicate into marketing goals, and how marketing goals communicate into your actual setup on LinkedIn. Which goals are you pursuing with the following campaigns? Which campaign goals would work? Which objectives would work? And then putting it all in one page document that this is the convention, how we work. This is the nomenclature, how we name things, and you stick to it. It makes reporting easy, it makes attribution easy, it makes the mistake of using an engagement campaign for lead gen 99% avoidable. Then again, the multi-layer targeting setups, having just job titles piled up in one place will only hurt, but having the job functions and industries with the exclusion of job titles in a separate segment just for marketing managers would achieve better results and higher return on investment and higher return on ad spend than the cocktail mix we saw on the previous slide. And lately, it's been a prerequisite to always prioritize mobile creatives and mobile formats. Majority of traffic on LinkedIn is happening in the app. You gotta adapt to it, and LinkedIn will reward you for it, for understanding how they work. But then again, just betting on this would be dangerous, so diversifying it with desktop-specific formats, with videos of different formats, with using carousel ads, using the unsexy and unpopular text ads, make sure that you're hitting all the points, you're hitting all the places where you should be seen. And then using the correct CTAs, because a lot of ads were seen and a lot of clients of ours previously used the universally accepted learn more for everything. Want to sign up for stuff? Learn more. Want to download something? You learn more. If you had data that this is how your audience operates, yes, this is how they behave, I digress, use learn more always. But unless you've tested and iterated, please try that before sticking to one of CTAs offered to you. Then again, one of the more powerful tools that LinkedIn offers you is the retargeting. So if you've got lots of traffic from Google search or from organic in your SEO efforts, retarget them on LinkedIn. It's the fastest and cheapest way to get good ROI. It helps you qualify the traffic. It helps you see if your audience is on there and if they can respond to your message, instead of trying to convert huge 100 to 100,000 cold audiences in markets where you're not present. Go for diversified and targeted retargeting audiences. One of the best tools for this are the matched lists. Probably no other platform offers you this tool with this level of detail as LinkedIn does, where you can target specific people in a specific company with the information you already have. And then, as already mentioned by one of our attendees, using exclusion lists and brand protection lists, basically filtering out everything that would be considered trash, that would be considered irrelevant to your audience, is a prerequisite. Otherwise, you're risking getting 20 to 30% accuracy in your targeting, even using all of the tools we mentioned above. Exclude stuff, exclude them, filter them out. And the same applies if you're using the LinkedIn Audience Network, filter out the placements that you would get. And then for everything above, test things, iterate, test again, apply the learnings, test them again. This is an endless circle of testing for everything, because otherwise it's guesswork. What a good campaign looks like. You've selected the correct campaign type and the correct goal. You've utilized the Saved Audiences tool to get the preview of your targeting, which LinkedIn, for some reasons, does not publicly promote as a preview tool, though this is a very good feature to make sure that you're targeting the right segment for you. And then using diversified targeting facets, using many of them at the same time, and layering one on top of other to achieve your ideal customer profile and the exact persona, switching off the necessary features like audience expansion and the audience network, and then testing. These are the signs of a good campaign that has a high chance of getting you good ROI, that helps you get good results and then attribute them back to your efforts. And talking about attributing efforts, you've ran a perfect campaign, you've got results, you've got leads, they're good quality. How can you make sure that you are actually the one responsible for it, and what percentage of your results is dependent on your marketing efforts? And this is a huge pain of ours and all of our clients, is the correct attribution. Because unless you collected all of the data and you selected the correct model that works for you, it's once again guesswork if you can attribute anything to your campaigns, especially LinkedIn campaigns, which are a bit more difficult in this. So what's a good model? Usually LinkedIn offers you either first touch or last touch attribution. So if the person has converted on one of your campaigns, the conversion would be attributed either to the first one or to the last one before the conversion. Linear attribution is not present in LinkedIn. You can do it in third-party tools, but it attributes equally to all touch points. We've seen better models with time decay and G and U-shaped attribution, which shows different proportions to how the conversion, how the revenue are attributed to marketing efforts and to campaigns. But the best one is data-driven. It's based on machine learning. It's based on a myriad of statistically significant data points and signals that make sure that your efforts and the revenue that you brought to the company and the new business that we discussed previously, the whole point of running the ad, the whole point of this effort is attributed correctly. And the most accessible tool for this is Google Analytics, and especially GA4, but the problem is it's not open source, so we don't know how their algorithm works, and we don't know how it attributes correctly, even though it's a data-driven. But it's the most reliable tool that's accessible to everyone at this point. Usually we prefer to have, and let me show, usually an attribution in Analytics can look somewhat like this, and this is the simplest way to do it. But we usually prefer to use third-party tools for this and have a custom setup for our clients to make sure that they know the results that they're getting, its quality, how long it took to convert, and that they can go back to their superiors, they can go back to head of marketing, they can go back to their boards and CEOs and say, our campaigns got a good positive ROI. They got the good results and we brought business back to the company. Without it, it's very, very difficult. But stopping just advertising on LinkedIn would be limiting the horizon of tools that you can use on there. So LinkedIn ads can be a testing playground for you to confirm that your audience exists, that they're on the platform, and who's included in it. You can drive people to your company pages and to your groups. You can find people in groups and advertise to them as the biggest and most straightforward signal of their intent and their interest. Your sales quite probably would be thankful for you if you communicate to them about the dialects that they have and about what they do with SQLs that came back to MQLs. Can you requalify them? Can you re-engage them? Can you nurture them? With this information, it's easier to use LinkedIn to reach those people and bring them back, requalify, and make your salespeople happy. And as the softest and lightest way to use LinkedIn advertising is just to support any outbound and telemarketing efforts. So before calling people and before emailing them, just make sure that they are aware that you exist and that your offer exists. They are aware. And this kind of support brings fantastic results compared to only doing one of the two in silos. So the horizon of using LinkedIn ads from pure lead gen to a support instrument to a community building tool is huge. But once again, this is all informed by the channel strategy. This is the cornerstone of everything that you would do on LinkedIn. The rest are tactics and work in trenches. So without a channel strategy, please don't burn money on LinkedIn. Prepare the strategy and then go for it. And I think that's all we have for today. I think we have some minutes for a Q&A, but I'll let Cecilia interrupt me a bit and advertise our free paid channel workshop.
Yes, I'm gonna advertise that one more time, but I think we're gonna go with some questions just after this. So yeah, just one more for you people who logged in late. We have a very exclusive webinar offer today. So you have the chance to get a free paid media channel workshop worth 500 euros. So if you want this offer, send an email to emma.kotka@brightvision.com or scan the QR code and fill the form. But great, thank you so much, Alexander, for this great webinar. I think we all got a lot to think about after getting these great insights. And I think there's many questions too. So please, if you want to listen to the question, please stick around because the Q&A will start now. But I have before we look at all the questions I got in the chat, I have a first question for you. And I'm thinking you talked a little bit about it, but what would you say would be the optimal tool tech stack to put you up for the greatest success? Like what tools do you need as a minimum to be able to, get the insights you need to do, valuable LinkedIn campaigns?
The minimal setup would include having a CRM with good quality data, having the good analytic tools. It can be as simple as getting GA4 setup, the basic setup, using Google Tag Manager or any other tag managers to manage all your event and conversion tracking, and making sure that those systems talk to each other. None of them integrate organically and straightforwardly. So having an automation tool on top of all of this would be great. But that's the minimal setup. Everything else would just increase the chances of getting good ROI.
Great. Thank you for that answer. And also, this is a question we got from the audience, but also from me. But how do you define the success? Like, what metrics should you measure? What benchmark should you be looking at? And what is, now it's many questions in one, and what is considered like good ROI? So what's good ROI? How do you define success? And what metrics should you look at? That's a big question.
I'll start from the last one. Good ROI would depend, but usually we strive to see a 200 to 300% return on investing in the marketing campaign. That's ideal. That's what happens in the perfect world. And this is not e-commerce. This is for B2B. In e-commerce, it would be huge margins, but for B2B, it's 200 to 300%. As for metrics and benchmarks, people hate when I say it, but it depends, and it depends a lot on the goals. So if we're running brand awareness at a completely new, unknown brand in tech industry in Nordics, we would be optimizing for the reach and the frequency. We would be optimizing for the click-through rates. If we'd be generating leads for a known brand with huge amounts of awareness and even brand loyalty to it, would be optimizing for the cost per lead. We would be optimizing for the cost and the return on the investment itself. So once again, depends on the goals, depends on the attribution model, and depends on the tactics used. But overall, those would be the basic reference points.
Great input. And what would you say is the ideal budget for a LinkedIn campaign? Is there an ideal budget?
This is a loaded question, and once again, it depends on the goals. There would be clients that would be okay running ads on $1,000 a month, and then there would be brands that would need 50K a month to get the results they need. The ideal budget would be the ones that brings you results.
Yes, agree. It's a difficult question. It is, but yeah, let's see here. Let's keep moving, getting more questions here. Also, how many ads is best or optimal to run in LinkedIn?
I'd say the minimal amount would be having at least one ad creative in desktop sizes and one in mobile format, just to cover all the placements that you can get. So the minimum would be 2. For achieving good frequency and good reach, 3 to 5 is good. Having more would probably hurt unless you need to refresh them often. Having less would limit your the amount of placements that you would get.
Great, perfect. And what call to action would perform best on LinkedIn from your perspective?
Depends on the offer and depends on the context. As I mentioned, we've seen people running all assets and all offers that they have as learn more CTA always, which doesn't make sense. But having a separate one for each ad doesn't make sense as well. So if your copy asks people to download something or you're offering a downloadable asset, download now or view now makes sense. If you're getting people to attend your webinar and they need to sign up, obviously a sign up CTA would work. Though once again, it might not be true. You will need to test it.
Great. So test. That's a takeaway. And what is the ideal audience size?
Depending on the goals, I'd say anything above the threshold of 300 people. LinkedIn earlier pushed for having around 100,000 people. Now they mentioned the number of 50,000 people. Those are guidelines at best, and they're not suitable to everyone. So if you have a hot audience that are aware of your offer and they've been on your pricing page in the last 30 days, but it's a 301 person, feel free to run at the smallest audience possible. If you're running as a cold audience in a market with millions of people in your target audience, go for all of them and segment later. So it's a choice between macro segmenting and micro segmenting, basically depending on your previous results and the offers and context you're going for. So ideal audience size is not a thing per se. The ideal would be in each specific campaign that you'll be running.
And the minimum target audience size is 300
Yes.
contacts, right? Okay. Great. Yeah, I think that was all the questions. We've been running over a little bit here, but thank you so much for this webinar, Alexander. It's been great. I hope all the attendees learned something. This webinar will be, it's recorded and it will be sent out as well. Yeah, and before we log off here, I just wanted also to invite everyone here to our B2B SaaS Growth Date, an event that we will have in May 25. So for all of you that operates in the SaaS industry, join us. We will have some interesting sessions on sales and marketing. And let's see, what else did we have? No, I think it was everything for today. So yeah, you have a good day, and we see you in another event or webinar.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.